Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. This is your host, Josh, and I am flying solo tonight. So, everybody, the rest of the peeps give their condolences. They're not able to be here tonight. But you get me, and we're going to have a fun show. We are doing Celebrity Ghost Sightings Part 2. So, the cool thing is we had so much content from our first Celebrity Ghost Sightings piece that we're going to bring some of that back. So you will still get to hear Mike and Terry and Jamie and Elisa from that episode. Just know that they're not actually here with me. So we're going to be playing some of the cutout material. So before we get started with that, I just want to say thank you all for listening. And I want to give a special shout out to Bill. He's been one of our faithful listeners from the beginning. Just want to say thank you for listening, and keep it going. All right, so this first clip section here, we are going to be listening to Mike kind of expand upon some of the more famous, more recent ghost sightings of our celebrity friends.
Okay, so next up is Lucile Ball. Lucile Ball, she's a esteemed funny woman from I Love Lucy, 1950s classic sitcom. She's been haunting her home on 1000 North Roxbury Drive in Beverly Hills, California. Go check it out. Actually, that's not her home. She purchased the home with her first husband, Des Yarnez, and on April 26th of 1989, she died during a surgery at the age of 77. Her second husband, Gary Morton, sold the house several years after her death, and the new owners of the house tore it down. One of Lucile's friends drove past the property to see it one last time, and the walls had already been taken out, and he sighted a tall, slender redhead looking through the fence at what remained of the place, and she turned towards him, and he realized it was actually Lucy. And she had an upset and confused look on her face, and then she proceeded to walk around the corner of the house, or where the house was, and then she disappeared. So,
that's kind of sad.
Even though the original home was demolished, it's believed that Lucile Ball continues to haunt the property, as a number of paranormal occurrences still take place at that particular location. It's speculated that she hangs out around because she loves her old neighborhood. Most of the encounters take place in the attic. Her spirit is described as being playful and impulsive, which kind of sounds like what she was like in life. On one occasion, a more recent owner of the home said that Lucile spends a considerable amount of time rearranging furniture and boxes that are stored in the attic. A witness claimed to have heard the sounds of a party going on upstairs. One of the other new owner's family members said that she heard the theme song from I Love Lucy playing softly in the attic. Lucile Ball is a benign spirit. She's considered to be a natural part of the home by the residents. The owner stated that he could never exorcise or remove Lucy from her home, although they kind of tore down her house.
You can get one if that's why she's not haunting that location. Like, she's just heartbroken that her husband sold the property after she died, and then
they tore it down.
Just tore it down, yeah.
Well, she seemed confused.
Could you imagine going to bed and then waking up and your furniture being completely rearranged?
That would be crazy.
It'd be crazy.
You're just sitting there and you hear all of a sudden you hear furniture moving around up in the attic. It's like, jeez.
It's like, I don't care if you have a party, just
let it be. Put it back. The Hart Building at Paramount Studios, which was formerly Desilu Studios, where I Love Lucy was produced, is also believed to be haunted by the ghost of Lucile Ball. Night watchmen have reported seeing her apparition in the upper floors of the building, and it's always accompanied by the scent of flowery perfume in the whole area around where they see her. So apparently she had a signature scent as well. Next up is the king of pop, Michael Jackson. He was born in Indiana. Yes. You might recognize him. Let me tell you a little about him. You'll like go, oh yeah, that guy. That guy. But he was born in 1958, August 58, and when he died in June 25th of 2009, it caused shockwaves around the world. I remember all this. Not only were his fans saddened at his death at the age of just 50, there were also some strange circumstances surrounding his death. He had died in his sleep when he stopped breathing after taking medication supplied by Dr. Conrad Murphy. Not long after Jackson's death, in fact, just shortly afterwards, a TV crew from Larry King Live shot footage around Jackson's Neverland Ranch estate. And when the show aired, some fans noticed something eerie. There was a shadowy figure that seems to be walking from left to right across the hallway. CNN claimed that the image was a shadow caused by a crew member that was walking past an off-camera light fixture. But viewers had a spookier explanation. It was Jackson's ghost. Since then, Jackson's image has been sighted dozens of times, everywhere from a Catholic school in Harare, Zimbabwe, to a reflection on the hood of a car in Stafford, Virginia.
That's interesting.
That's the craziest one, right?
And in my toast.
And on your toast. Interesting about that CNN thing there. Apparently, Marlon Brando has a son named Miko that was a cameraman, and he was there and shooting it. And he's like, we would have seen the shadow in the cameras and everything when we were there. We would have been aware of it if that had been something that was actually there. And nobody from the crew was aware that happened. It's like we would have known it. Kind of like the Wizard of Oz thing that Terry had talked about. You know, the crew would have seen it. They're like,
yeah, they would have seen it. They would have reacted.
Caught this.
Yeah.
Michael's sister LaToya Jackson also claims that she can feel Michael's presence in their Encino, California home. She's reported hearing him tap dance across his. She's reported hearing him tap dance across his form room. And I don't know
tap dance or moonwalk.
It says tap dance, and I don't know what a form room what it is. But her dog barks at the ceiling below, and just kind of stands. So her dog barks at the ceiling from the room below, and he's just up there dancing around.
Wasn't he closest with LaToya? Wasn't that the sister that he was closest with?
I think so, because.
Well, him and Janet were
I
close
too.
too.
Him and Janet were because they did an album together.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
I think it was just a matter of I don't know. It could have been. But another person who believed that Jackson's ghost had visited her was the singer Amy Winehouse. He had visited her and told her to get sober.
Oh, I think I heard that.
Told her to go to rehab. And what did she say?
No.
No. We'll get to Amy Winehouse in a little bit. Terry's got some cool stuff that a connection to Amy Winehouse.
Her real name is Amy.
The 27 Club. All right. So next up we have Orson Welles. He was the star of Citizen Kane. I never saw Citizen Kane, but apparently everybody else has. But he was also a radio performer on the radio show War of the Worlds.
That's
which
right.
I love that movie.
Which I've heard some of the original stuff from that, the old radio show.
I loved the original radio show. The movie was decent.
The old movie or the new movie?
You've
I
seen
liked
the
the
movie?
The new movie.
Whoa, we got to mark that
With
down.
Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah, the one with Tom Cruise. Yeah.
Did you see the old one, the black and white one?
No.
Okay.
No, I heard of the radio broadcast.
That creeped me out when I was a kid.
Sorry.
So Orson Welles died on October 11th of 85 of a heart attack at the age of 70. He was also well known for his big appetite. And the Hollywood legend is reported to haunt his favorite Los Angeles restaurant. It was called Mason, which is now a bakery called Sweet Lady Jane's. And he's often seen in his favorite corner table, wearing a wide-brimmed black hat and a dark cape. I think the cape part's funny. And he's either drinking brandy or bourbon and smoking cigars. And apparently it's a regular occurrence. Next up, this one goes along with a movie that's coming out here soon this summer, Fast 9. From the Fast and Furious franchise. You guys may have heard of Paul Walker. Paul Walker's ghost is actually, this one's kind of interesting, a sighting at his tragic car crash. So he died in a car crash. And
In a Porsche, just like James Dean.
Yep, just like James Dean. And fiery crash, you can see pictures of it and videos and whatnot. But if you look on it, you can just Google it and you'll find these pictures. but there is a figure standing kind of in the flames
They say it's a spirit.
that they say is Paul Walker's spirit. I mean, he was obviously dead on impact, but they say that this figure that you can see there, it's the shape of a person and looks like Paul.
It's
No,
creepy.
nobody else could be
It's
standing
really creepy.
in that
I thought it
spot
was cool.
and not
It's
be.
cool looking, but it's creepy at the same time, just to know what happened.
Yeah.
So there's a celebrity ghost sighting.
So with Paul Walker though, we watched. There's a YouTube guy that does the paranormal stuff, and we watched one of his episodes where he actually went to Paul Walker's grave, and they did an SB7
Which is a spirit box.
spirit box session there, and they got his voice to come
Really?
through, and then they got asked to leave. So
I'm sorry. If I'm going to die, I'm not hanging out at my grave.
Yeah, that seems to be. I mean, like it seems to be a weird place to hang out, but
Yeah.
just for all of you people out there, like you're not allowed to investigate Paul Walker's grave. They will ask you to leave the
Yeah,
cemetery.
security
If I
will
don't want to
escort you
investigate
out.
it, I just want to visit it.
Yeah.
I just want to say, like, I was there. That's all.
It looks like a really nice grave, actually.
But you asked that about, why would anybody want to hang out and haunt their grave? Well, but if you go to cemeteries, that's like the number one place to find a bunch of spirits.
Yeah, and
They do hang out in cemeteries.
but maybe it's one of those things where, like, because they know people pay homage to them, right? They come and pay their respects, and so maybe it's one of those things that, like, they want to be there when someone comes and pays their respects.
Yeah.
Or it could be, I wonder if, like people want to feel a family member or whatever, and they're in need of something, and a family member comes and visits them, and they just show up right when you need
They're
them.
drawn there.
Yeah, they're drawn there or whatever it is, and they just know where to go. So I wonder if that was kind of the case where,
That's what I was thinking.
yeah, they're just at the cemetery knowing that they want him to come and visit. So he's like, okay, I'll come,
Yep.
He'd do something like that, too. He was cool like that.
So how would you then explain, like, we've investigated the cemetery up in Ogden, and there were lots of spirits there.
Yeah, there were.
Was. Mhm.
So I don't think we really...
Well, if you think about it, if you want to hang out with all of your friends or like new people or whatever, you go where everybody's at.
So
most
the
So
graveyard,
it's like their common hangout.
the graveyards are the happening
It's
places.
the happening social scene.
So I don't know if that's really the case, but I would just assume.
We're all going to go hang out in the cemetery after dark, after we die.
Yep,
It'll be
let's
great.
do it.
Let's do it.
If you do go
Party at the
investigate
cemetery.
cemeteries, please be respectful.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That is
100%.
paramount.
And please get permission because
Get
a lot of
permission.
cemeteries close at night, and trespassing is.
But you don't have to do it at night.
Awful.
Even during the day, you can go out there and
Yeah.
just be respectful. That's
Absolutely.
all. That's all we ask.
It is the final resting place for people, and it is hallowed ground in that avenue. So, be respectful of the place you're at.
And that being said, have fun with it though, because there are a lot of really neat spirits that you can talk to, and communicate there in those places. So, next up, we've got Red Fox. This one's a little bit of a shorter one. So, Red Fox was the star of the long-running show Stanford and Son.
That's a great show.
He's known to haunt Stage 31 at Paramount Studios, where he died of a heart attack. And people at the studio have heard him laughing at the jokes. They claim that he just kind of hangs around. More often, the comedian's known to haunt his former home in Las Vegas. And probably not impersonators either. I don't think I've ever seen a Red Fox impersonator.
I don't think anyone. No.
But after a terrible battle with the IRS, he lost his home in Vegas when the IRS forced a sale. So he goes back and hangs out there. The owner that lives there now reportedly sees him walking around in a bathrobe. Other strange occurrences. Didn't he walk around in a bathrobe on the show a lot too?
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. So other strange occurrences included lights that turn on and off by themselves and a sliding glass door constantly opening from its own accord. Today, the building houses offices for Nevada Aqua Air Systems. Continuing to have trouble with the sliding door, they finally replaced it with a wooden swinging door. However, it didn't stop the door from opening by invisible hands. So, now you guys might remember this one from back in the 90s. It was back when I was in high school. Actually, I was out of high school by this point. But Tupac Shakur Though his music career was short-lived, Tupac was widely regarded as one of the most influential figures in hip-hop and entertainment. The 25-year-old artist was shot in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas on September 7th of 1996. 6 days later, he died of his injuries on September 13th, and his death has been subject to a number of Elvis-esque conspiracy theories that suggest that he might actually still be alive. However, fellow rap artist Kendrick Lamar claims to have been visited by Tupac. And the rapper's spirit told Lamar to continue what he's doing and not to let Tupac's music legacy die.
Wasn't he a member of NWA?
I think he was.
Oh, there is a lot of conspiracy about his death.
Oh, no, there's a
A
lot.
huge conspiracy about his death.
There was,
He didn't make very much money either at all. He signed some horrible contracts and didn't
that's
make much
awful.
money when he passed away.
Yeah, he was, he started the long list of the gangster rappers that were shot and gunned down.
It's him and Biggie.
Him and Biggie, and then there was a couple others after
Yeah.
Biggie that got gunned down. So, yeah, the 90s.
That wasn't his first time being shot either.
No, that's
He'd
right.
been previously shot and survived.
So,
He'd been previously shot and died.
Well, see, that's one of the conspiracies, is because after he was shot the first time, he started wearing a vest, a bulletproof vest, and then the night that he did get shot, he didn't wear it. So it's almost like he kind of knew what was going to happen, because he didn't even have like his bodyguards or anything like that with him when it happened.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. Definitely not a lifestyle that promotes safety, though.
No, the gangster rap lifestyle was
I
not
moved
one
outside a club late at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It never really, that was not one of those, great lifestyles to live, because some of those people were actually involved in gang activity back then, and so they weren't just playing it, they were living it.
They were legit.
Yeah.
So next up we have Whitney Houston. She was a Grammy Award-winning singer and actress. Whitney Houston was actually one of the biggest performers to have come out of the 1980s and the 90s. Best-selling musical artist of all time. Like Terry said, she will always love you. But the relationship, she was actually married to Bobby Brown from 92 to 2007, and they had one daughter together. But their relationship was always troubled. He was widely blamed for her drug addictions. On February 11th, 2012, she was found unconscious in the bathtub of her room at the Beverly Hilton in Beverly Hills, California. She was pronounced dead later that day, with the cause being an accidental drowning with cocaine use and heart disease as contributing factors. During an interview conducted by Oprah Winfrey, Whitney's daughter, Bobby Christina, who also would later come to suffer a similar fate to her mother's, claimed to have been haunted by her mother at their Atlanta, Georgia mansion. So Whitney's been seen too.
Wasn't Bobby Brown not a good husband?
He was not a good. He was very
It
abusive.
wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's how they're claiming that she was responsible for
Oh,
her
yeah.
drug addiction.
He got her into drugs, is what they say, because he was a user,
Yeah.
a frequent user, and he got her started.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I just remember, I think there were some photos that came out of after beatings and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. He's just not a good dude.
No.
Is he still around?
Yes. Yep.
He was just on The Masked Singer.
He was. He actually did okay. It wasn't horrible.
Such a shame.
Yeah.
It was his prerogative.
Can you tell that she's getting into her hyper stage?
Yeah.
It's getting late.
Getting late. Okay, so I got 3 left here, and Terry, these are all part of what's called the 27 Club. Terry, what's the 27 Club?
Okay, the 27 Club is basically, most of it consists of musicians. There are a few actors in there where they hit the age 25 and then they die of mysterious reasons or drug overdoses.
27.
No, 27. What did I say?
25.
Oh, okay, sorry. They die at the age of 27 due to drug overdoses or paranormal reasons of whatnot or mysterious explanations. There are rumors that some of them might have sold their soul to the devil, and so that's why they die at the age of 27. But also I think it's just the live fast, live hard kind of lifestyle, and it just takes them way too soon because they get famous so fast they don't quite know how to handle it and what to do with it, and they just succumb to that kind of lifestyle.
And all three of these next three actually fall into that category.
You've got three, and then I've got a couple.
Okay. Do you want to do one of yours first?
I don't care. One of them, this one's just a really quick, short one. Jimi Hendrix is a member of the 27 Club. He has often been heard playing at the Wolseley Hall at Yale University. Why there? It's because he performed with his band in November 17th of 1968. And then, once again, a band member from the Oasis, who was it that said he saw John Lennon?
I forget his name. It's like Ian somebody, I think.
Okay, so this member of Oasis, Liam Gallagher.
That's him, Liam Gallagher.
Okay, so once again, Liam Gallagher has claimed to see the ghost of Jimi Hendrix at an album playback. The Oasis was previewing songs for an upcoming album, and it had a part of Electric Lady in it, and said that Jimi Hendrix showed up during the playback. So whether he really saw him or not, I don't know, because Oasis claims to see a lot.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool though. Like you're just sitting in like that Yale Hall, and you just hear Hendrix start playing.
Yeah,
That would be awesome.
So cool.
yeah. And so where he recorded at Lady Sound Studios is where Jimi Hendrix choked on his own vomit and died. So he just kind of showed up.
Ew. Hate it when that happens.
Anyways,
All right, so I'll go with next one. Kurt Cobain, the 27-year-old lead singer of the grunge rock band Nirvana. Kurt Cobain actually committed suicide via shotgun on April 5th of 1994 in his Seattle home. He was found 3 days later. I didn't remember that he was found 3 days later. But
he was missing for 3 days, and he was in the house the whole time because they never went and checked one room above the garage.
He was found 3 days later with a firearm atop his chest and a handwritten note by his side, which a number of conspiracy theories suggest that his death may have actually been a murder, because it was just kind of staged too perfectly.
The hired murder.
They also tried to, it's like, how do you fire a shotgun rifle from, which is generally pretty long, and how do you kind of shoot yourself in the head? It's difficult. Not impossible, but it's difficult. In the days after Cobain committed suicide in his Seattle home, a handful of fans who gathered there for a vigil claimed to have seen the spirit of the Nirvana frontman in the windows and on the roof of the house. Excuse me. In August 2000, a bartender in Essex, England, told reporters that Cobain's ghost had taken up residence in her laptop. This one was interesting. She claimed that Cobain's face materialized on the screen one night, begged her for help, and then asked her to kiss him. So she kissed the screen, and the image vanished. And then the laptop crashed and never worked again.
The kiss of death.
The woman, while not spiritual, did hire a computer exorcist to get rid of the spirit.
Wait,
A
that's a
computer
job?
exorcist?
There is apparently a computer exorcist job.
Wow.
Wow, I have the wrong job field.
Just remember that if you ever get the blue screen of death.
Right?
We can call one of
It's
them.
like, what do you do? Like, just sage it? Like, blow sage into the keyboard?
I don't know. I'm going to have to find out. I'm going to do some research and become a computer exorcist.
You blow it in the USB port.
All you do. Ooh.
That'll definitely get something kickstarting.
No, I think all you got to do is just go get an air can and go shh in the keyboard, and you're good.
Wasn't it said though? Didn't they say that they thought that that Courtney Love might have?
She was the one who hired.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
her who
that she was
hired.
linked in there somewhere.
She's linked to it somehow, but she has an alibi because I think she might have been in a recovery center for her drug addiction at this point.
Likely
But
alibi,
somehow, I think she was rumored that she has
The mastermind
the
behind
mastermind,
it.
and had hired
Sure.
the hitman to kill
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
Well, I know they had their issues as well.
of
We were
course.
talking earlier about how the song was a heart-shaped box, right?
Heart-shaped box. She wanted
One of
it
his
for her
biggest
band,
hits.
and he said, "No, it's mine." And there was a big fight about it. Yeah.
I'll be honest, she's not really one of the most loveliest people in the world.
no,
No. She's been known to tell fans to F off and do all sorts of like rude and obnoxious things and actually leave like the stage and stuff early. So it's pretty rough.
All right, so that's Kurt Cobain. Who else have you got?
Okay, so you have two more.
I've got 2 more.
Okay. Because I have 2, but one people probably don't know.
I've got this one.
You've got that one. You have
And
the
I
other
got that one.
Okay.
Can you do both?
So, Brian Jones, who was one of the original founding members of the Rolling Stones, he died at 27, drowned in his swimming pool a month after he quit the band. But I don't know if he really quit or he got kicked out because of his drug problems and his addiction. They were hoping that he would go and, fix his problem and be able to come back to the band. But Keith Richards has claimed to see the ghost of their band member. They started recording some of their favorite blues tracks that they liked to play together when he was alive. And he told Uncut Magazine, the last time I ever played Little Rain was with Brian Jones. Now I'm playing Little Rain in the studio and suddenly Brian is looming in front of me. And then Sir Mick Jagger added, exactly, you can feel him around.
Wow.
Awesome.
It's funny that they kicked him out for drug use.
Yeah, because they weren't guilty themselves.
Right.
Exactly. Like, how bad is your drug problem that the Stones kick you out for
Yeah.
your drug problem?
See, and I don't know if they had their drug problems at the time when they got rid of him and theirs were developed later, because it was so early in the making of the band when he left the band. Because he died in 1969. So,
And then
I
they
don't-
all started taking drugs.
yeah, I don't know the whole timeline of it all, but anyways, that's Brian Jones.
Brian Jones, old school rocker. Well, how about another old school rocker, part of the 27 Club? Born December 8th, 1943, and died in July 3rd of 1971, Jim Morrison. He was the lead singer of The Doors. Talk about lighting fires.
Right?
Right. So he was actually found dead, like I said, July 3rd of 71 in Paris, France, from what may have been an accidental heroin overdose or a heart attack. There was no autopsy performed. They don't require those in France, and so no autopsy was ever performed. So they really don't know exactly how he died.
And there's
it's a little bit of a mystery.
conspiracy on his death, too.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
The singer was staying in a rented apartment at the time of his death, and his friends had expressed some concerns over his mental health and his state there. So he died there. He was buried in the Père Lachaise Cemetery in France in an initially unmarked grave. Many headstones at the graveyard were vandalized or stolen, and so they left it unmarked. Morrison's father, though, eventually placed a plain-looking marker on the site with a Greek inscription that reads, "Against his own demons." Against his own demon. I don't read Greek, so I wouldn't know that the grave, but
It's all Greek to me.
right? In 1997, a journalist named Brett Meisner visited the cemetery and had his photo taken beside the headstone. In the background, a translucent figure can be seen standing in the doorway of a crypt, with his arms held to the side, like Jim Morrison's iconic publicity photo.
Seen
Meisner,
that photo.
yeah, he's kind of like out, kind of with his arms outstretched to the sides.
Yeah.
So Meisner was not aware of the apparition's presence in the photograph until several years later when his assistant pointed it out to him. The Doors' former recording studio was also transformed into a Mexican restaurant named Ibarra, which has since closed down and become a whiskey bar. But the owner believes that Jim Morrison's haunting the bathroom there, which I think is hilarious. What's the bathroom in a Mexican restaurant?
That's not a good place.
Now it's a whiskey bar, so
Yeah. Well, the
Still not a
manager,
good place.
the manager at the time stated that he is definitely still there. Funky things happen all the time in the bathroom that they can't explain. Apparently, this was built right in the same spot where he had recorded their albums. As like his turn it in the bathroom. So, yay! Did you have another one?
Yeah, I got one more. So you have Janis Joplin. She's a member of the 27 Club. She died in room 105 at the Hollywood Heights Garden Hotel, which was formerly the Landmark Motor Hotel. That hotel was a very popular place. It was built in the 1950s, and it attracted entertainers and celebrities, including Rat Packers, Jefferson Airplane, Siegfried and Roy, and Janis Joplin. She died from an accidental heroin overdose. I don't know how you have an accidental heroin overdose.
Think a little too much.
I take a little too much. She liked room 105 because it had a direct line shot of a park bench across the street where she would meet her dealer. And so when she would see him over there, she knew when to go out her room to go and get her drugs from him. It's been rumored that she will open the doors of the room 105. There was a video that I was watching of a couple that actually stayed there, and his wife went to bed and was asleep, and he went and took a shower. And when he came out, he saw that the doors had been opened. And so he woke up his wife and asked her what she was getting out of the closet and why she left the doors open. She goes, I haven't done anything. So then he called down to the front desk, and the front desk was like, oh yeah, the doors, Janis Joplin opens the doors in that room. So, but
Wow.
Or just Janis.
It's just Janis. When the hotel changed from the Landmark Hotel to the Highland Gardens, they actually left that room 105 untouched and didn't remodel it and left it the way that it was. So you can still go stay there today. She was actually found face down, wedged between the wall and one of the beds. So there's another place to put on our list of places to stay.
Adding it now.
And it's in LA, so in California. So
Just in California again.
Like there's lots of places in California, especially in the LA area.
Yeah, and there's locals that kind of say that hotel should be called the Crossroads Hotel because of all of the soul selling that's been done because it's at the Crossroads. Once again,
Ew.
selling your soul to the demon at a crossroads.
Supernatural.
For fame.
And that's why you put the devil's trap, and then you summon it into the devil's trap.
Yeah.
And then you catch it.
Did you realize that's a TV show, though, right?
It is? I told you it was not a TV show.
How disappointing.
It's a documentary. That's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you said it was a documentary.
Yeah.
Okay, and Mike's got one of the most recent,
It's fairly recent.
musicians of the 27 Club.
So Janis Joplin's known for her very unique voice,
Yep.
right?
Uh-huh.
So
100%.
this last member we have here, the 27 Club, also has a very unique voice, very lovely voice. I actually really enjoy her music, at least what I do know of it. It's Amy Winehouse. Amy tragically and unexpectedly passed away from alcohol poisoning at the age of 27, hence the 27 Club, on July 23rd of 2011, making her a member of the infamous 27 Club. Like I said, in life, Amy was no stranger to the paranormal. Her grandmother, Cynthia, would appear in her sleep following her death in 2006, and as mentioned at the dedication of her Back to the Black album. So in that dedication on the Back to Black album, she talks about her grandma who passed away. And then she would come visit her all the time. On May 21st, 2008, she fled her North London apartment in fear that a ghost named Henry was trying to harm her. There were scratches on her arms, which she attributed to the spirit attacking. For a short while, she resided at the Chelsea Harbour Hotel, and as she refused to go home until the place was exorcised. A friend of hers told Britain's Daily Star that she has a spare room in her house which she's been too terrified to redecorate because she believes a child died there. It has a creepy aeroplane wallpaper and a really weird feel to it. In her later years, Amy was working to conquer her addiction and sober up on the Isle of St. Lucia in the Caribbean after claiming to have been visited by the ghost of Michael Jackson. There, she was reported speaking with spirit mediums, and a source told Britain's The People that she heard Michael's voice telling her that if she didn't sort herself out, she'd lose everything. Amy had been a long-time fan of the King of Pop, so she tried. She tried to go to rehab, and she tried. The singer's father, Mitch, claims that he is frequently visited by his daughter and by her spirit. And he says, after 3 years, I was thinking that maybe one day she'll come back in some shape or form. And she does come back, not physically, but spiritually, all the time. Her spirit comes and it sits on the end of my bed. She just sits there and looks just like her with her beautiful face. And she looks at me, and I say to her, "Are you all right?" Because I get nervous with her being there. But it's comforting in a way to know that she's there and that she's all around me. Most of her visits are around her birthday, which is September 14th. He also believes that she visits him in the form of a blackbird, similar to the one that she has tattooed on her arm. And he explained, the week after she died, I was at my sister's house, and I heard this thud, and a blackbird that looked identical to Amy's tattoo flew into the glass. We went and picked it up and put it on a perch. It happened tonight when birds don't fly, but it came back and sat on my foot. And then we put it back again on the perch, and it came back in the middle of us and actually started to sing. So I do now see blackbirds all the time and think, it's only a bird, but it's her. I'm sure of it. Mitch is certain that his daughter, certain that it is his daughter, and said in regard to the paranormal happenings that there's so many things that can happen to me that do happen to him that he just can't explain. On February 3rd, 2012, a Canadian psychic named Nadine Rhodes made claims that Amy was haunting her friends. Rhodes stated that Amy had made a series of Rhodes stated that Amy had made a series of angelic appearances dressed in white. Each time she appeared, she would tell Rhodes and her friends that a man named Kevin Sheridan in Bedfordshire was suffering in pain. The psychic also claimed that Amy spoke of British police using voodoo to curse people. Mitch took to Twitter and said that he didn't know who Sheridan was and denied the police were using voodoo. He also wondered why would Amy appear to strangers. So her dad's kind of defending that's not my daughter. Musician and close friend Pete Doherty was convinced that the singer was haunting his apartment. Having seen her there 3 or 4 times, she's alleged to have warned him of the dangers of drugs and alcohol. Doherty firmly stated that he was clean while witnessing her spirit, worrying that people would write this off as an experience being like a drug-induced vision. But he fled from Paris after those encounters as well. So, Amy Winehouse, former addict and now a public service announcement person.
Yeah. So there's a lot more people in the 27 Club. Those are just the ones that we could find ghost sightings on. You should go look it up. It's really interesting. There's actually a lot more in there.
Yeah, and I think the 27 Club really shows you the dangers of fame.
Mm-hmm.
And drugs.
Well, right, but I mean, you think about it, right? Because if they're at 27, they probably hit it big somewhere in their early 20s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are a little bit earlier. Mm-hmm. So now you have fame, money, and not a really good grasp on life.
Oh, and see, with Amy Winehouse, they were warning her that she was going to be a member of the 27 Club if she didn't cut it out. Like, they were forewarning her. And Heath Ledger, which is barely is out of that. He died at 28, so he was almost in the 27 Club.
It's crazy to think how, as much as we value or look up to celebrities, that they really just kind of are broken individuals in general. So we transition now from the 27 Club to probably one of the, I don't want to say more famous musicians, but definitely one that I have enjoyed listening to. And unfortunately, I didn't start listening to till almost he passed away. So this one is The Man in Black.
This is Johnny. I'm Johnny Cash.
The Man in Black.
Tell us about Johnny Cash.
So I didn't go into much of Johnny Cash's life. He was, obviously a famous singer. He was a preacher. He was arrested 7 times. Although, funny enough, he only spent a handful of days in jail. And then he's best known for Folsom Prison. And he did a lot of
cocaine
concerts. He did a lot of concerts and work with
cocaine
those
concerts. It's the same thing.
Sorry, John.
So, but he was So that was in his life. The interesting thing I found out of though is Johnny Cash isn't his real name.
No, it's not. Mm-mm.
So
it's Sue. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, a boy named Sue, which is why we got the song, right? When his father and mother were expecting their 4th child, they struggled giving him a name. His mother wanted River, and his father wanted Ray. So both parties were so dug in on their own name selection that they ended up choosing JR as the way to avoid conflict. And that was a very common practice in the South at the time, to just give your kid initials. So he was known by JR all through high school, except by his father, who called him Shudu.
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 I wonder where that came from.
I don't know.
She-do.
But it wasn't until he joined the Air Force in 1950 that he got the moniker John. So the Air Force recruiter did not want to accept anybody who had the initials or just initials for their name. And so JR became John R. So it's kind of interesting because how different would it be if he would have been just JR?
Yeah.
It's JR Cash.
Yeah.
Just doesn't have the same
J.R.
ring.
Ewing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they could have. The recruiter could have like given him any kind of thing. Just call you Bubba. I'm Bubba Cash.
Your now name is Jenny Cash.
Silence.
Silence.
Death means silence.
So, interesting enough, like this is Johnny Cash was probably the hardest to find any real solid paranormal stuff on. He's reportedly to be haunting at the Shreveport Municipal Memorial Auditorium.
Interesting. I've never heard that one.
He performed there in a handful of times. Him, Elvis. It's a pretty like big venue. It's like the Grand Ole Opry of Louisiana, I guess.
Okay.
So he's reported to be there. Although when I went to go look to like find sightings or anything like people have experienced Johnny Cash's spirit there, nothing. So it's like, well, that's weird. But he had a plantation.
That was me. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Doing.
Doing. So he has he had a plantation down in Jamaica. It's called it was on Cinnamon Hill, and Ghost Adventures actually investigated there. So, boy, we just bring them up a lot in this episode.
Way
Well,
too
they've kind
much.
of been everywhere.
They have. But during their investigation, they got an EVP that says, I do. And so when they actually had that analyzed using like Johnny Cash's recordings and this EVP, they actually came out and saying that it was an exact match or a very close match to being his voice.
Yeah, same voice signature is
so-
what they called it, I think.
Yeah, same voice signature. So, you're in that point of like, hey, that really could be Johnny Cash's voice. So like you have now like scientific evidence of not just like, hey, that kind of sounds like Johnny Cash.
Right.
So I do have one actual ghost sighting, and it was from 2016.
Oh, that's recent.
Very recent. So Loretta Lynn, who's another famous artist.
Coal miner's daughter.
Yes. She in 2016 she was recording Full Circle, and she enlisted Johnny Cash's son John Carter as co-producer. They're recording the album at the Man in Black's go-to studio, Cash Cabin Studio. Per an interview with Lynn by Garden and Gun, all these Cash connections might have summoned his presence. A door opened from the control room into where I was recording, and in walked John. I didn't think anything of it because I was so used to seeing him. We were such good friends. He had one of those gray uniforms on from the Civil War, and all of a sudden it hit me. Lord, that was Johnny Cash.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeesh.
And
I'd love to see that.
wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be
Yeah.
so
It'd be
awesome.
amazing.
But that's it. Like,
Right on.
There's just not a lot on Johnny Cash, other than like if you Google ghost sightings Johnny Cash, prepared to find 3-4 pages of all of his music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moving on from celebrities such as Johnny Cash and Michael Jackson and Lucille Ball, we're going to get into some of the movies that have either paranormal hauntings or legends about them. So take it away, Terry.
Okay, so another popular one that has been rumored a lot is a ghost in the movie 3 Men and a Baby. So I'm sorry to tell you, that's fake.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun dun dun. It was actually debunked by I cannot find his name here. Tom Selleck. There you go. Tom Selleck was doing an interview with Jimmy Fallon and was asking him about it, and it's that what you see in the background is actually a cutout of Ted Danson. in the window. Because there was a scene originally in the film where they had a whole bunch of cutouts of Ted Danson that got cut out, but the cardboard cutout stayed in on the set. And so, Tom Selleck said, the funny thing is the rumor is that there was a boy that committed suicide in the house that they were filming the film in. But all the scenes inside the house were on a soundstage. So how could a ghost be there for dying in the house? Because we weren't in a house.
Right.
But then he's like, but wait a second. All my royalties and sales for the movie skyrocketed with this rumor. So no, it is a real ghost.
That's right. Whatever sells.
Right?
Yep.
I think I remember hearing about it being a cutout. But I can't remember. I mean, I've heard both. And I know I've heard the story of it being a boy and seen, like, there's videos, or not videos, there's pictures all over the internet.
Yeah, there is. And they have actually close-ups where you can actually see that it's Ted Danson.
Well, see.
There you go.
But the thing is you spread a rumor like that, and of course it's going to boost your sales because people want to see it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Debunked.
Yeah. Which is what we want to try to do, is debunk stuff.
Yeah.
Except there is a ghost that sits and hangs with our podcast. So, like, listen, like, you guys got to start, tuning in and listening to make sure that you can hear the ghost that hangs out with us.
There's more than one.
Yeah, what are you talking about? There's a few.
Okay, so then the Conjuring movie, which was Mike's favorite.
This movie messed me up the first time I watched it.
Still have never seen it.
Terry and I, really?
I haven't seen it either.
Gosh.
I can't believe you guys have never seen this movie.
Oh, we're going to fix this.
Okay, so
Gonna have to.
it's based on the true story of the Perrin family and their home in Rhode Island, and strange occurrences during the making of this movie. So the Perrin family actually visited the set while they were filming. And when they were all sitting out there, a big, huge, strong wind came and swirled all around them. But members of the crew noticed that this big gust of wind came through, but, like, none of the trees moved. Like, nothing else moved besides just the wind around the Perrin family.
Oh, interesting.
Right? And then their mom, Carolyn, actually refused to go with them to visit on the set because she's just always felt a strange, evil presence. And then, so since she stayed home while her family was visiting, she actually fell down and became ill and was taken to the hospital while the family was gone. And then things went bad to worse when the hotel that all the actors and the movie crew was staying in caught fire and everyone had to be evacuated. James Wan, the director of the film, recalls working late in his office one evening, and then his dog started growling at something in the corner, because of all how that where animals just see something and you're like, they're staring at something, I don't see anything. So it kind of freaked him a little bit because the dog would just never calm down and just kept staring and kind of growling at this corner in his office. And then the actress who played, I can't remember her name, Lorraine Warren. Vera Farmiga.
She's lovely.
She actually refused to take the script home with her because it made her so uneasy. And she couldn't read it at night because she would become paralyzed with fear. And she remembers opening her laptop once and seeing 3 slashes across the screen as if something had dragged its paws across the screen of her laptop.
See, and you gave me crap because this movie scared me. We watched it, we went to bed, and then she wanted to talk about it. And I'm like, nope.
Not talking about it.
And all I could do was stare at the shadowy doorway into our hallway, waiting for something to come in the door.
Took him a long time to go to sleep that night.
A long time.
Okay, and then you have The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Oh, man, that movie creeps me out.
Yeah, and so you would think that, like, playing someone who is possessed, you would become possessed yourself. That would make me really nervous. She said that the actress, Jennifer Campbell, who portrayed Emily Rose, said that she always felt a weird presence in her hotel room while she was filming the movie, and her alarm clock in the hotel room would randomly go on and off in the middle of the night, and every time it would come on, it would play Pearl Jam's Alive, more specifically the lyric, I'm Still Alive.
Creepy.
Wow.
That's awesome. But you gotta wonder, though, because, like, she's staying in a hotel, right? So
Yeah.
is it really associated to the movie? Or is that really just associated to the place that she was staying?
Yeah, so you don't know if something followed her home or just the hotel she was staying at.
Mysteries.
I mean, and I know that, like, there are radios, channel stations that will overplay songs, but to always have that one lyric come on every time, that's not coincidence.
It's like Groundhog's Day. Like, Remember, like, every time he wakes up, it flips over, and there's
So
always
put
that same
your
line.
little
That
hand in mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then there's another one called The Possession. I don't know if I've never seen this one.
I think we have.
Have we? Doesn't sound familiar.
I think we have, but I'm not sure.
If I have seen it, I want to rewatch it again because this is crazy. So Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who's known for his roles in Walking Dead and Supernatural.
Hubba hubba.
Yeah. In this movie, he plays the father of a little girl who becomes possessed by a demon from a Dybbuk box.
A demon from a what?
Dybbuk box.
I saw
okay,
this one.
maybe we didn't see it then.
Do you know
I
what a
saw
Dybbuk
this
box
one.
is?
No.
You've never heard of a Dybbuk box?
you clearly do not watch
No.
Ghost Adventures.
So it
I
looks like
don't.
It
They
came out.
drive me nuts.
It came out in 2012. We're gonna have to definitely see it. It's got
Yeah.
Kira Sedgwick.
Okay, so Morgan, Jeffrey D. Morgan actually admits that he was a skeptic, full-on skeptic going into this. Didn't believe in any paranormal. But then after being on the set, he kept getting freaked out by, like, lights exploding for no reason at all and, like, cold ice breezes wafting through scenes when they were doing ghost scenes on close sets. So he totally became a believer after filming this film. Although the creepiest incidents is the storage facility where all the props were being stored, caught on fire and burned to the ground. And they were never able to confirm what caused the fire. It wasn't arson and it wasn't electrical.
I bet some Yahoo got a real Dybbuk box.
Right?
It's like, look at this prop. It'll be great. It'll be so authentic. And then we'll open it
Okay,
up.
can you describe to me what that is?
Okay. So a Dybbuk box is an Israeli artifact that's created using some very not so good things. And then you basically summon a demon into it, and then you hold it. The Dybbuk is actually used as like a like an avengeful spirit. Like it's something that you would, be evil and come after people. One of the ingredients is dirt from a consecrated grave.
And there's certain things they have to collect to put in this box.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it is if you come across a real one, they're excruciatingly dangerous. Just because
Yeah, I've never heard anything about that.
you basically have a powerful evil spirit that's hanging out.
One of the most famous ones is in Zach Baggins'
Yes.
museum down in Las Vegas.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's one of the big famous ones.
Huh.
But there's a couple good stories that are out there about Dybbuk boxes and just the dangers that associated to them.
We'll have to cover that.
Oh, absolutely. It'd be a good topic.
Well, didn't we have
Yeah.
that up at the Fort Douglas? Wasn't that a Dybbuk box that was up there?
There was, yes.
Yeah, and we decided to put...
There was one that Jimmy Lynn Darling ended up. Somebody had made one and then freaked out and didn't know what to do with it, so sent it to Jimmy Lynn. And then she brought it here, and we were testing it, investigating it a little bit.
And they put Popo next to it.
They put Popo next to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy. That was
Oh,
that
dang.
was when Popo made the god.
That's when I lost the
ping
ping pong ball.
Yeah, he ended up losing the ping pong ball to Popo.
But
Oh.
like that's the thing is like the one part like the consecrated grave soil has to be an Israeli grave.
Yeah, it's very
So
specific.
like you have to go to Israel, you
Yeah.
have to go to a grave, you have to take their soil and put it in this box. So like I would bet that the number of actual real Dybbuk boxes out there are very low. But
But why would you try, though?
I don't know. The story goes on that one is that they just like, I want to see if I can do it. It's like, why?
It's kind of like one of those things where people make their own Ouija boards and
Yeah.
ugh.
Just don't
just to
don't.
stir something
The
up to see
famous
if they
words,
can do it. Just
sounded
don't
like a
do
good
it.
idea at the time.
Yeah, just don't do it.
I don't know where it's like, hey, you know what? You know what sounds like fun tonight? Let's summon a demon. That would be great.
So, and then I have Amityville Horror, which there was 2 films made for that. The original one in 1979. The star James Brolin was actually debating on whether to accept the part because he was kind of nervous about being in the film. And one night while he was reading the script in the early hours of the morning, he said a pair of his pants suddenly fell off a hanger, which caused him to leap out of his chair in terror, and he decided to take the role. So, and then also while the filming of the first movie, we're going to circle back, Ed and Lorraine Warren came during the filming. And that was when they had caught the picture of the boy with the glowing white eyes where they think it's John Matthew DeFeo, one of the younger children that was killed by his brother.
If you haven't seen this, it's easily found on, just Google it.
Yeah, it is a very creepy photo.
Amityville photo, I'm sure you'll find it.
Oh, I've seen that photo.
Yeah, it's like a boy standing at the top of the stairs in a doorway, and he's got these white glowing eyes.
Yep.
They think that it's the little boy John that was killed by his brother. And then also, sorry, I thought you were whispering.
Oh, I was yawning. Sorry.
She was whispering to the ghost behind her.
So, and then Ed claimed that something had followed him home from that movie set. And while he was home alone, he heard a latch snap open and then heavy footsteps coming toward him, and then disappeared in his house while he was home alone. And then you fast forward to 2005 when they remade the film with Ryan Reynolds. A lot of the cast and crew kept being woken up at 3:15 in the morning, which is the time the murders happened. And then even stranger, so after the DeFeo family was murdered, the next family that moved in was the Lutz family. And then while they were filming the second movie, Kathy Lutz died of emphysema, and then closely after that, her husband passed away from a heart attack while they were trying to sue the production team during this film.
Crazy.
No kidding. Why did they try to sue the production team?
Do you want to?
Go ahead.
So they sold their rights, and there was a book that was made, if I remember this correctly. We talked about this on the other show that I used to be on. And,
The show that must not be named.
The show that must not be named. If you want to know what it is, message us. We'll private message. But no, they had sold the rights to the book, and then the book was made into a movie. But they missed out. It's kind of suspected that George Lutz was kind of just trying to. A lot of the stuff might have been even made up, just so he could become famous. Like, oh, there was a murder that was here. Oh, we had all kinds of crazy ghost stuff too. Want to buy the rights?
He was trying to make money off of it.
So when the movies were made, when the first movie was made, and he was not given any royalties because he didn't have any rights to the royalties of the movie, he just had the rights to a book. Anyway, long story short, he wanted money that they kind of got hosed out of by Hollywood producers. And, yeah, so
Because
they sued
they're,
and did not get it.
No, because their lawyer, whoever was negotiating their deal for them, did a bad job.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance to sell your story to Hollywood,
or your soul,
make sure you get your book and movie rights, so you can get your royalties. Don't just ask for one, just don't ask for one.
Okay, so then there's The Exorcist, which is probably one of the most terrifying films of all time. The one that messed me up, probably the first time I saw it. It's a good show. It's a good, scary one.
Still don't think I've seen that one either.
What?
Oh my gosh.
What is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you, dude?
I know Elisa's
Not
never
a scary
seen this
movie
one.
fan.
No. Yeah. So,
Have
this
you seen
one.
it, Jamie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. This one, I know a lot of people that got messed up from this one. Even still, as old as it is, when you watch it, it's still scary. But the director actually had to have the set blessed by a priest many times throughout the filming. And the house that they were using to film actually ended up burning down. A lot of stuff gets caught on fire, which is weird. This is the third fire.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Got a little pyro bug hanging around with everybody.
Right? So, but the only thing that didn't burn was the room where the little girl, where most of the movie takes place, where she's possessed. That room did not catch on fire. And it delayed production by 6 weeks.
Yeah, there was all sorts of wild stuff that happened with that movie. And I know Linda Blair had all sorts of... She's the girl who was possessed.
Yeah.
And she had all sorts of mental therapy sessions as a result of that. It messed her up for a long time.
Yeah, it says there were 9 deaths from the cast and crew, both during and post-production. So 9 people died.
Holy cow, that's a lot.
Yeah, more so than from the Poltergeist.
You know, I'm not much of a scary movie fan, and just listening to the stories that Terry was conveying really makes me wonder if I'm not smart for not being a fan. With all of the bad things that have happened during making some of these movies, it's like, you know, I can do without. I can definitely be good without watching this. But hey, everybody, thank you so much for listening to this kind of Frankenstein-y episode of the Paranormal Peeps podcast. You guys can find us on Instagram at coldspot_paranormal_research. And you can find us on Facebook at Paranormal Peeps Podcast, and also at Cold Spot Paranormal Research, both a Facebook page and a Facebook group. And if you guys are having any issues that are going on in your home that you need us to come take a look at, you can go to paranormalhope.com and just fill out the form at the bottom of the page, and we'll get back to you via email, and we'll get an investigation set up for you in your home or business. So with that, stay ghosty, my peeps. Thank you for listening to the Paranormal Peeps Podcast. You can find us on social media at Twitter at CPR Paranormal, on Facebook at Paranormal Peeps Podcast and Cold Spot Paranormal Research. And you can find us on Instagram at coldspot_paranormal_research.